It's not about being word perfect in your communication. It's making sure people listen to you. And that difference is exactly why conventional communication training doesn't work. Here's the problem, and I wonder if you can relate to this in your organisation. Businesses spend thousands of dollars every year on traditional communication training. On the surface, it might look good, but when the workshop finishes, everybody goes back to real life. What happens? Leaders still avoid conflict. People are not clear in the way they communicate with each other. Trust doesn't improve at all. And that's because of three main reasons. Firstly, traditional communication training focuses on delivery. It's about getting the actual structure of the message perfectly correct before you send it out, whether that's verbally or in writing, rather than making sure that there's an exchange of meanings and the other person or the audience understands the message. Second problem is it really treats communication like a one-off event. Do this thing and your communication will improve. But great communication is a way of life. It's a way of being. It's got to become part of your DNA. It's got to be so deeply embedded in your leadership team that it's just the way they go about their business. It becomes part of who you are. It has to be an everyday occurrence, not a one-off event. And the third issue is that it doesn't test people around communicating under pressure. When the pressure's really on, the stakes are high, and the outcome matters a lot. Because in the everyday scheme of things, most of us with any level of experience can communicate reasonably well. But when things go south, that's when the true skill of an amazing communicator comes to the surface. So it needs to be under a pressure situation so people can truly hone their skills. If you want to absolutely shift the way your leaders communicate and the way your business or organisation interacts with its external audiences, I think that there are three important approaches you need to take on board, and this is different to regular communication training. First of all, good communication is all about the audience. We have to think about them first. Now, a lot of the time when I get invited into businesses because they've got some sort of communication issue, one of the first questions I ask is, who's the audience here? And you know what? Most leaders haven't got a clue. They haven't even thought about it. So we have to start there. Who's the communication for? What's going on for those people? What's going on in their world? How are they going to be viewing the communication? And the best communicators, I reckon, in this very high pressure world are the ones who behave like translators. They've got a foot in both camps. They really understand their audience and they understand their business, and they're able to be the conduit between the two. That's a very different energy and a very different set of skills to somebody who simply broadcasts from the mountaintop, pushes messaging out. That type of communication doesn't work so well anymore because we trust the people around us more than we trust traditional leaders. So the way you approach your communication and building the credibility of your leaders and people throughout your business needs to involve increasing their awareness of focusing on audience, deeply understanding where people are coming from, even the people who are complaining, even those who come to you with an angry face. It's about looking beyond sometimes that microaggressive behavior and really understanding what's this complaint or this piece of communication telling me? What's the value here that we can act on? Second piece of the puzzle is making sure that your leaders have great frameworks and structures for the way they communicate. I'm a huge believer in this. Any pressure situation or important communication, generally you will be more effective if you've thought about it beforehand with some form of structure in mind. The problem is, most of us go about our day, we go in and out of meetings and important conversations, and we just wing it and waffle because we know our stuff operationally and we think that will translate to the way we communicate. You'll be so much more effective if you stop for a moment, take a breath, and use a simple structure. Could simply be the rule of three. What are my three key points? What's my call to action at the end? Or you might use any of the many other frameworks that I like to teach leaders when I work with them that make a huge difference to their credibility and influence when they communicate. So don't be shy about using a framework. Do a little bit of planning. A pinch of preparation can mean the difference between a leader that just goes blah, 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 and a professional who really does communicate effectively. The third area that needs a shift is focusing deeply on you as the communicator, especially in pressure situations. What goes on when you feel like you're in the hot seat, when you've got to speak in a meeting, when everybody's looking at you and you're expected to know the answer, and perhaps in that moment you've just got nothing. Or perhaps you've got to speak in front of a group or have a really tough conversation. It's managing your inner state, especially under pressure. I work with a lot of really senior leaders, people whose names are known, they're in the public eye. And I used to think when you got to that really senior level, you didn't have any more self-doubt. You were fully sure of yourself and 100% confident. But of course that isn't the case. Even very senior leaders have self-doubt. They have imposter syndrome. They have that critical voice in their head pointing out all of their doubts and flaws. But you know what? The leaders who are really effective are the ones who, in those pressure moments, can simply put that self-doubt, those distracting thoughts to one side and focus 100% on the situation in front of them, whether that is a conversation, a meeting, or perhaps even a broader presentation. So managing your inner state under pressure. And that's what I love to focus on when I work with leaders and professionals to ramp up their credibility and their ability to really build trust and connection with the people most important to their business or organisation. When organisations take that approach, rather than simply getting the outward bound communication skills improved, the outcome is immediate and it can be dramatic. Leaders start to step up in difficult situations. They start to cut through. They communicate in a way that ensures that people listen, sit up, take notice, and act. Most importantly, they build new levels of connection. They become a credible voice, a trusted anchor in a world that's pretty crazy, where people just don't know who to trust and believe. It's time to shift your approach to the way you consider communication across your business. It goes far beyond just the exchange of words, into deep trust, deep credibility, and positive influence. If you're tired of training that doesn't work so well, even though it might look good in a brochure, contact me. Let's have a chat about how to work with your organisation. We'll go deep, will make lasting change, and people will feel confident and comfortable, going from confusion and uncertainty in the way they communicate to clarity and certainty. You'll start to move the needle of positive relationships, positive interactions. You'll reap the reward in terms of culture across the business and ultimately your bottom line. Let's have a chat about you and your organisation being more believable, being dependable, and being reputable. I'll see you again soon.